Hello, members of the Court of Public Opinion. I am your host, Mrs. Independent, aka I am not a lawyer. I just came across this article on Citizen. Okay, it's about Amanda. It's retired SEP warrant officer Amanda Steenkamp, who worked on the SENZO MEYIWA case, and she was responsible for the identikit that was made. But before we go to what she says, because it's a bombshell, okay, let me just remind you to say thank you so much for your support and thank you for tuning in. If you are new here and you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe. If you are a returning viewer and you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe. We need to hit 3,000 subscribers, guys. Please help me, and that will be appreciated. But before we go to the bombshell, let's lay the basis. Let's hear Advocate Ramos Sepile asking questions and poking holes on this matter of identikit. Let's take a listen.
I beg leave to, just for background purposes, to praise the witness of what's contained in this affidavit. If I may read, it's only 2 pages there, of page 4 and 5. Thank you, my lord. And on the blue part it says, case 636, 2014, phosphorus murder and robbery. Amanda Yvonne Steenkamp do hereby make oath and state that on Monday 2014, 10/29, I was called out to phosphorus detectives accompanied by Lieutenant Colonel MJ Streicher, Operationals Commander, Protea Glen, LCRC, to interview witnesses in case 676. I'm reading it as is, my lord. 676, 10/2014, phosphorus murder and robbery. I interviewed several witnesses individually. My first witness was Kelly KHUMALO. Kelly told me, in short, that she and the deceased walked to the convenience store. Upon return, Kelly, deceased, and family member and friends had a smoke outside the house. Ms. KHUMALO called them inside to say goodbye. They sit down and start chatting again. Kelly was sitting near the kitchen when she saw 2 unknown African males entering the house. Suspect A appeared very aggressive and demanded cell phones and money. This suspect approached Kelly and the deceased jumped up towards suspect A. A scuffle between suspect A and the deceased started. The next moment, Kelly heard 2 gunshots. She gave the following description: African male, in his 20s, dark brown shiny complexion, dreadlocks hairstyle, no scars, no facial hair, golden insert in upper teeth, language, local Zulu. He was wearing a brown jacket with a wooden collar. He was not clean in appearance. Suspect A entered the house first. He was armed with an old black revolver. Kelly could not describe the second suspect. After the compilation, she was satisfied with the ID kit. She compiled the face with the headgear.
So now I think it's clear who are we talking about here. We're talking about someone with 20 years experience, okay? She is the lady that we are talking about here. And let's further take a listen to Ramusipile poking more holes and exposing the cover-up and the cooking in this case. Let's take a listen.
Not describe the second suspect. After the compilation, she was satisfied with the ID kit. She compiled the face with the headgear. The second witness was Kelly's sister, Zandile KHUMALO. She told a similar version and gave a similar profile and facial description of suspect A. The only feature she adds was eyebrows. She saw the eyebrows when suspect A lost his headgear during the scuffling with the deceased. She could not describe the second suspect. The third person interviewed was Tumelo Madlala, who was much traumatized. He saw the scuffling between suspect A and the deceased. After hearing the gunshots, he ran off to one of the rooms. He gave a similar description of suspect A I showed him Kelly and a sister's compilation, and he was satisfied with the identity kit. He could not compile the second suspect. The fourth witness was Mr. L.S. Twala. He gave a similar description of what happened on the scene. He saw a scuffling between suspect A and the deceased. After hearing the shots, he ran out to look for help. He could not describe the second suspect. Page 5. The fifth witness, Mr. T. Makalede, residing at Muzamo 3942, compiled the face of suspect B. He saw 3 unknown African males in the vicinity of the gas station, busy on the cell phones. He saw them again at Kelly's mom's house. Suspect B stood at the gate. He gave the following description: African male, 25 years, 1.80 meter tall, slender build, medium brown complexion, clothing a black hooded top. Witness saw a golden insert in upper teeth, hairstyle, dreadlocks, facial hair, mustache and beard. Witness saw something in his hand that could have been a firearm. Witness could not describe the rest of the faces. A sixth witness called Sipiwe could not compile any faces, but he mentioned that he saw an old green-blue sedan near the danger box. 2 unknown African males were sitting in the car, and the other 2 were standing outside the car. After a few minutes, the car left, and only 3 unknown African males stayed behind, and they were busy on their phones. The witness later saw them running. In front was a person with dreadlocks running with a firearm in his hand. The other suspect jumps over the wall.
So I just don't want this video to be very long. I would like you to type on the comment section and remind everyone who said they were in the house, and after hearing the gun, they ran out and jumped the wall into Makelwanis or the neighbor.
Lieutenant Colonel Streicher and I left Foster's detectives to see Ms. Khumalo at her house. I interviewed Ms. Khumalo at the neighbor's house. She gave a similar description of suspect A. I showed her the compilation, and she said she saw a likeness in the face. She could not describe the other suspects. My purpose for this exercise, really, is this. If you look at the people that were in the house, that is, those that gave the description of the persons that were involved in the commission of this offense, i.e. Kelly Khumalo, Zandile Khumalo, Dumelo Madala, Longe Twala, and Makhumalo. All of those people, according to the affidavit of Warrant Officer Steenkamp, they could not describe the second suspect. And we know that here in court, that second suspect was attributed to be accused number 2, Bongane Sandisontanzi. You see that? From what I've read, that the people that were in the house could not describe accused number 2, according to this affidavit.
My Lord, can I say in response to that, first of all, I did not dispose any affidavit, my Lord, in relation to the this content.
Yes.
Yes. I have never ever had an encounter with the person who disposed, my Lord, of this affidavit.
Futhi ke angaze nje nakancane ngihlanganeke naye lo muntu lo ekuyena owabhala ke lesi statement esifungele.
So I'm not in position, my Lord, to comment on what you are putting to me.
Manje ke angikho kisimo ke sokuthi ke sengaphawula ke kuloku wena okushoyo kimina.
Sergeant Mohola, you are a police officer, and I'm not going to cast any aspersions to you. As part of the investigating team, you assume the investigation of the case. And in the case docket, it says the previous 40 people that were fired, people are fired. Fired is used in this court. People are fired. The 40 people that were fired, investigating officer prior to yourselves, according to the evidence of Makubu, have done preliminary investigations. And amongst those, it's the identity kit, other investigations that were conducted prior to your team assuming or being seized with this investigation. Now, as part of familiarization, you will know that there is the identity kit that seemed to link suspect A and suspect B to the offense. I'm not saying you personally were involved in the interaction with warrant officer Steenkamp, or you personally deposed to a supplementary affidavit pertaining to this document. I'm just reading you the contents to say, do you see in what is written in this document, ex facie, on the face of it, it says all the people that were in the house, they did not describe any feature of the second suspect that entered the house. That's the gist of my answer.
As I have mentioned earlier on, that I came across this article on the Citizen, okay? It was written by Mariska Kotse on the 7th of April 2022, 0807. And again, would like to thank Michelle Berger, who took the picture. Beautiful pictures indeed. So Miss Amanda Steenkamp, she is now retired. She was a former warrant officer, okay, and she worked on the identity kit that was done for accused 1 and 2. And so she said 8 years after the senseless killing of soccer star SENZO MEYIWA, and the motive of the murder and the mastermind of the murder are still unknown and unresolved. He further went on to say Kelly and other witnesses are hiding things about SENZO MEYIWA's murder. Bo. She said, let me tell you, while I did those interviews, I felt those people's version in that house differed. They knew what happened there, and it felt like they lied to me. That's what she said. You can read the article for yourself. I'm not making this up. Miss Steenkamp said when she was called to the crime scene on the day, she had her dog Toki with her at the office. You can see these beautiful dogs. I don't know which one is Toki, but they're such beautiful dogs. And she said, I used Toki as an emotional support pet, especially in the cases such as people forcing themselves on other people and the trauma from house robbery. And she said, I had to ask a colleague to take care of Toki while I visited the scene. Ms. Steenkamp said she interviewed KHUMALO first, so I'm not sure which KHUMALO is this that she's talking about, but she said, I remember her dreadlocks and how she sat in the chair. She looked tired and irritated, as if to say, get this over and done with. I went through a terrible time. That was my first impression of her, she said. It shows this was Kelly KHUMALO. And then she interviewed Zandile KHUMALO, who told her she saw the suspect eyebrows when his hoodie cap fell off his head. Steenkamp said there were a few things that that didn't add up, such as the sister's boyfriend who claimed he got a fright and fled the property over the wall to get help. Neyizwa manje. Longwe jumped over the wall to get help. And she further on to say, interestingly, the suspect who allegedly guarded the door didn't stop him from fleeing the house. Steenkamp said, it may have been a case where he bumped him out of the way, but it was unlikely. Police said they found the murder weapon and arrested 5 guys. If I understood correctly, the police found a pistol, but I remember KHUMALO saying it was a revolver. There are differences there. I will say it again. Something isn't right and it is very fishy. She said, Amanda Steenkamp, that's what she said. So, like I've said, on this platform, I'm not convincing people to believe or to go with a narrative, but I just follow the information, the testimony, and most importantly, evidence. Okay, and yeah, guys, let's take a very last listen to Oramusipile when he closes this. Take a listen to this.
On this aspect of the warrant officer's facial recognition affidavit, and I'll put this to you. If it's speculative, don't answer it. She says at the time she had 22 years experience in the police and about 17 years as facial recognition, and that according to the affidavit, she compiles it according to the description that is given by the witnesses. Now, hear me out. If you can answer, you can. If you can't, you can't. If she says these 5 people that were in the house could not describe accused number 2, as a police officer, would you agree with me that she could not suck that information from the vacuum? It must have been given by those people that she says they couldn't describe accused number 2.
May you please repeat the question?
A warrant officer of 22 years, if he says Makhumalo, Kelly Khumalo, Zandile Khumalo, Tumelo Madala, Longwe Twala, did not give me the description of accused number 2. She didn't suck that up from the air. She didn't make it up. Would you agree that's a fair comment to make?
That's correct.